Welcome to the podcast, second pod of 2019, and first student game report of 2019, and first student report in quite a while, actually. I would say the last one we did was probably mid-December before I got sick, and then the holidays happened, and you got busy. So, Kyle, Nash, Happy New Year. How was your holidays? How was your trip to Arizona with the UCF LSU game? What's going on with you?
First of all, don't put it on my schedule, son. I was ready to field a call.
Whoa. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that things did happen between last 3 weeks, in between. I mean, I got the podcast yesterday on here. It was the first podcast I did since December 13th. So, I mean, I'm definitely at fault for not getting, stuff done. But again, life happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, some of us are better at playing hurt, and you were the Derrick Rose of podcasting. It happens.
Well,
and it's
funny.
okay.
You say that, but, the only thing I did over the holidays was I went on your podcast. Oh, yeah.
That's right.
That's right. So
and
I did play hurt a little bit and still managed to show to your job on your turf and not do my stuff. I helped my end of the bargain. We had to delay the podcast by a week, but hey, I came through.
No, man. Hey, listen, it was great. I had an awesome time with the holiday, and we joke about this, but listen, the shows with you were fantastic.
Yes.
Those will be out here soon enough, and that's going to be awesome. Yes. So y'all better learn today. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it. Obviously, I did the shows with you and Big TJ last week, and I actually did a podcast with our old friend Ted Hicks last night. Actually, I did a sit down interview with him, like over an hour interview, so 70 minutes, some of that with him yesterday. It was actually a good time. So it's funny because I've been kind of like I've been not doing a lot of radio and other appearances on other shows this year. I had to turn down one yesterday for Fox Sports Radio because the time they wanted me to do it. I had the kids and I couldn't just get away for 5 minutes to do the interview. So, and I'll be honest with you, there was a time this year I will say that I kind of got tired of doing other shows. I just want to do my own. I just want to kind of focus on my material, but I kind of missed it. I actually kind of missed doing other shows on other platforms. I kind of missed it.
So come find him, folks.
Yeah, get at me, son. Get at me. All right. Okay, so, Kyle, as of this recording, and this could change, obviously, by the time this thing drops Friday morning, we have 8 vacancies right now in the NFL. We had 6 firings on Monday, between Sunday night and Monday morning. The 8 vacancies, of course, are in Green Bay. They are in Cleveland. They are in the Jets, the Bengals, the Cardinals, the Dolphins. Who am I missing here? I got 2 more got to fill here. Who am I missing? I keep doing this every time. I keep missing. Keep missing the 8 teams. I'm missing 2 here. Who did I not mention?
Well, you said the Bengals and Jets, right?
Bengals and Jets.
You said the
Cardinals,
Bucs.
Dolphins, Packers, Browns. That's 6. It's 8 teams.
It's Joseph. You didn't say the Broncos.
The Broncos. That's 7. And finally, number 8 is going to be, let's see. Well, whatever. I'll figure out in a second. The point is, we got 8 vacancies. Of the 8 vacancies, and including the 2 that, Hugh Jackson and Mark McCullough got fired during the year, are there any surprises here for you, Kyle? Any surprise firings here?
I think it was a little quick on Vance Joseph. I thought they were going to give him another year, but they didn't. I mean, that's the most surprising of them, if you ask me. But that's not to say it wasn't, air quotes, warranted. I mean, the ones that were fired were pretty much expected. McCarthy in the middle of the season was a little odd. I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so many coaches on this list that are just being scapegoated this year, and don't really deserve the axe, in my opinion.
Right. And again, it is what I mean. Look, I think the only one that surprised me, and I think I spoke about this on the show yesterday, was Steve Wilkes one, and not so much the fact that he got fired, or whether he deserved or not deserved to get fired, but this is 1 year. This is literally one season. And basically, he was gone. And it makes you wonder, well, were there things internally in Arizona that we were not privy to that pushed this thing past its point?
Well, don't they feel silly for getting rid of Arians? I'm just saying. Yeah, man, I don't know the good answer there. I think it may be something with a lack of jiving with the quarterback, Josh Rosen. Maybe they weren't playing him enough in a particular way. There's a lot of things that could be going on. It's one of those where you have to be on the inside to know what's going on, I feel like. But
right.
It does smell a little fishy. I'll grant you that.
By the way, the 8th team was the Buccaneers and Dirk Cutter.
I thought you said the Bucs.
No, I did not say the Bucs, no.
Well, when I said, did you say the Bucs? You said yeah.
You said Bengals.
I said a number of teams.
Okay, so let's go through this one more time. The 8 teams. I want to get this right for our listeners who may not know what's going on, but I'm sure they do know what's going on. Dolphins, Jets,
right,
Browns, Bengals,
Broncos,
Packers, Buccaneers, and Cardinals. That's 8.
Yeah.
Bang bang, baby. Rank me. You have to rank all 8. Rank me the 3 best jobs in your opinion that are of the vacant jobs right now. The 3 best jobs in order, 1 to 3.
Right now you got to take that Green Bay job as one that's up there. It's a situation where you have $50 million of cap room upcoming, and you have Aaron Rodgers. And you have a storied franchise in a weak division. That's not a bad job at all if you like the cold. The reason why I would put the Buccaneers job up there, EJ, but I got to tell you, the front office's insistence to say, hey, and by the way, next year you have to have Jameis Winston as your quarterback instantly, without discussion, makes that the worst job, hands down.
See, this is my feeling on the whole Winston thing. Because they already announced he's going to be the start next year. Obviously, they're going to do that, but they already announced it. I don't know if there's right now in a 1-year vacuum a better option for them right now. Because where they're positioned right now in the draft, especially too, they won't be able to get a high pick to get a quarterback. So I think the Bucs are better off with their talent, and they've shown signs here and there this year that when they get their shit together, they are actually a solid team. I think it's worth one more year of Winston. Was it going to hurt? In my opinion.
Well, the problem, all things being equal, you'd have something there if the matter was just his lack of aptitude, right? If it was a situation where you had like a Ryan Tannehill or a Blake Bortles, I could see that decision. Winston's issue is his head just as much as it is his arm and his decision-making, okay? You're only one bad night away from hearing him stealing crab legs or groping Uber drivers, okay? That's the problem there.
Right. Maybe I'm just being, naive here. I feel like we've gotten past that now. I really hope so. Let's say that.
Evidence to support that, though, just as much I have none to support that you are correct.
Right. So the Packer job is the best one, you think? Because I would say it's definitely in my 3. I would put the Browns job 1 because of the talent around. Now, that being said, the only thing I will push back on, and this is what I think you might maybe agree with me, is that front office and Jimmy Haslam as the owner. Are they ready to take the next step and get the fuck out the way and let the coach and the GM do their job moving forward? By the way, Dorsey's done a solid job, by the way, in Cleveland this year so far, with that team. But can they stay out the way and let whoever is going to be the next head coach going forward do its job and not get in their own way?
But you're also forgetting the other problem.
What is that?
They have expectations now. Here's the thing. I mentioned 6-10, and our very own good friend of the show, Lamont Broadus, L.A. Broadus, tried to tell me that he took issue with me picking 6-10. We talked about this throughout the season. I picked 6-10 for the Browns. You know what? I was off by a game and a half. Okay?
I don't know why we took issue when you were 0-16 last year. 6-10 is a major improvement. Our guy L.A. Broadus, that's our dude. But let's also be real here. 6-10 is a holy shit. We're on the way back. What are you expecting here?
They're on the way to being a second-tier team. Listen, this is adorable. Baker Mayfield's had a good first year, and you're going to see regular between 6 and 8 wins. He will not be a world beater. Okay, you have a great defense. That will last until contracts start going up. You're going to be poor man Seahawks with a quarterback that's far inferior to Russell Chamomile Wilson, and you're going to be in a bad place. And just as much as you were worshiping him now, you aren't going to be in a bit. It's going to be up there with, say, the Redskins in RG3.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And the second job, the second best job in my opinion, I'll be honest with you, this may shock some folks. I think the Jets job is pretty solid. I think the Jets right now are actually a team that's seems stable. Like when I mean by stable, I mean in terms of there's no front office bullshit. There's none of that Rex Ryan-ish noise. They'll get a coach. We'll see who they get, obviously, but it seems like they're on their way to at least building something positive moving forward. You got the quarterback Sam Darnold, who by the way played very well the last couple weeks of the year. So that will probably stick some crow to the Giant fans, fellow Giant fans like myself, moving forward when we decide this Eli thing. But the Jets right now, to me, are probably the second best job right now that's open.
I can't sign off on that precisely. Now, granted, compared to the other ones, I might have to just kind of lean into accidentally saying you're on to something. But what we're about to find out is how much Todd Bowles was actually holding things together with that franchise. I think without Todd Bowles there, you see them step back yet again, and to where they're a sub 6-win team.
Ooh. Well, we'll see. I mean, you and I defend Todd Bowles. You definitely more than me, but we definitely defend the Bulls on the show to a degree. We'll see where that goes. Okay, so obviously Black Money now is in the rearview mirror. I will say this much before we get into other topics here on the show. There are two situations I'm looking at right now, and we'll get into one of the situations in a second. But one situation, and it's funny, you actually teased this a couple weeks ago on the show. The Viking situation with Mike Zimmer. I'm not saying he will or should get fired, and in fact, I don't think he should get fired, but when you consider the expectations this year for the Vikings and how everything ended this year, it would not be so out of left field if, for some reason, ownership panics and does the deed. But that is a job I would say is another situation that I would say could be a bit tumultuous right now.
Well, right. I think it would be a good job to pick up again if you like cold. But I don't think we're giving enough credit to the Broncos situation. You have an excellent defense. You bring in an offensive-minded coach to spin yarn into gold or make water into wine, as was done in the past with Case Keenum in Minnesota. And then you get a decent quarterback to fill that rank. This is the kind of guy, like if you remember back in the days when they found success in the 90s with Jake the Snake Plummer there, if you get a quarterback of that caliber, you're going to make the playoffs. And even with Patrick Mahomes in that division, I think you're going to see a sophomore slump from him. I think the fact that they have a complete and total lack of defense in Kansas City right now is problematic. And I think you see a drop-off from the Chargers as well. It's just a matter of being a situation where where your uptick is better than the drop off from these other teams. I mean, a drop off. If they win 11 games, EJ, that's still a drop off for them. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So it's a tough thing all the way around. Again, the biggest problem with the Broncos is the coach. The quarterback, and a new coach with the right. I'd like to see Marvin Lewis there, for example.
Okay. All right. And the other job, of course, and we're now going to open up the next topic here on the show is the Steelers drama and Mike Tomlin and now the Antonio Brown saga and whatnot. I mean, we back all year long, last year too, lack of discipline, as we say in the show when it comes to the Steelers, and now they missed the playoffs completely this year. And everything the gloves are off now. Antonio Brown's mad at Big Ben. Big Ben is saying things out there. Mike Tomlin is trying to diffuse the situation, and all this. Let me ask you first before we unpack all this stuff. What is your opinion on the Steelers? How everything's ended this year, and then everything's happened since the season ended on Sunday.
I mean, are we really surprised? You and I aren't. I know that.
No, we're not. It's actually worse than we thought. In fact,
it is to the fact that it went so bad as to take a team that we had locked in as a playoff team this time 4 weeks ago is now out of the playoffs in question. Found themselves in a position to need the Browns to sneak them in the back door. That's something we didn't expect. But let's be honest, man. Listen, Antonio Brown's been a drama king in his own right with social media in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Roethlisberger and his calling people out in public thing boiling to a whole new point. Le'Veon Bell continues to be drama, thinking he's a player that deserves to command a butt ton of cash when you can almost guarantee he's going to miss 4 games a year with a suspension of some sort. This is what they are. Now, hey, I'll give the Steelers this much credit. If they do end up in shipping Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster is still a fine number 1 option.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Now, that being said, Big Ben was saying that one of the things that because of all the Antonio Brown stuff going on, some things get left, some tea leaves get left under. Big Ben said that the Le'Veon Bell stuff was a distraction. I disagree to some extent because I think he's using that as a way to kind of sidestep the Antonio Brown stuff. Because James Conner did his job, and actually you can argue had a better year up until when he got hurt than Le'Veon Bell last year.
But EJ, here's the thing. You're looking at that with numbers. That is not a number situation.
Okay.
Situation buried in intangibles. And I think Ben is spot the hell on having with the situation with Bell dividing the locker room as it did. I mean, hell, I haven't seen this kind of division in that locker room in the headlines since Alejandro Villanueva stood on the sideline this time last year, or well, not this time last year, but during last season, to as a former serviceman, by the way, to honor the national anthem. And that was a whole situation, granted, very quickly quashed and well handled by Mike Tomlin, but nonetheless, that's the kind of division we're looking at here. And the problem is, it isn't politics, it is the business of the NFL. And players trying to get theirs, and players were actually battling each other over a guy trying to get his. It's a situation I think that really did divide that locker room.
Is it bad enough that the Steelers management have to consider Mike Tomlin's future?
I think they give Tomlin 1 year to right the ship, and if it's beyond repair, he's out of there. This is a group in the Rooney family that sticks with guys. They've had 3 coaches in the past 3 decades? Is it 4? I can't remember.
It's 3. Howard, Chuck Noll, and now this guy.
Yeah, and listen, man, Tomlin. It's not that Tomlin's a bad coach. He gets fired. He'll be a candidate in jobs, the very next season, no question. And the whole Rooney Rule aspect actually backs him a little bit, obviously, in that he'll get an interview sooner and have the opportunity to seal up a desirable deal quicker.
He'll get a job. Well, first off, if he were to get fired today, for example, the Rooney Rule won't even matter in his case because he'll be the top candidate right out the gate.
Well, I'll put it this way: if Michigan actually did fire Harbaugh, they won't. I think Harbaugh would be considered a higher candidate, but the Rooney Rule would give Tomlin a negotiating advantages that clubs would have to talk to him first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Sense. So, do the Steelers? Well, 2-part question here: Do the Steelers will they trade Antonio Brown, and should they trade Antonio Brown?
If somebody's dumb enough to take the trade and take those numbers off of their books, yes, they should. Will they? That's a tough sell, man. I can't really see them doing it in this instance. Again, you're dealing with the Rooneys who tend to be loyal to players and coaches alike. To see this kind of situation crop up in a Rooney locker room is really what's fascinating. We don't really know what that's going to transpire or become. And it's definitely some young and the restless trash that it makes for compelling watch, even though you feel a little bit dirty that you enjoy it.
Yes, that's so true. I wrote a piece today. on my blog, earnestly.net, by the way, saying that it's time, cut bait. And by the way, I was saying this not just now, but I was saying this as soon as recent as 2 years ago. When after that, I mean, I think you and I spoke about this a little bit on the show a couple years back. When after that playoff win against Kansas City and at Arrowhead, when you have Mike Tomlin in the background telling folks, be on social media, watch social media, and you can hear it. And here's this idiot with his cell phone up, and just fucking around with the cell phone when his team should be listening to the coach. And by the way, you play some New England Patriots for the right to go to the Super Bowl, and go figure, you get blown out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the real tragedy too, is they had actually finally managed to beat the Patriots, and then their complete and total lack of discipline kept them from finishing the job. If I am a Steeler fan, I am pissed. Period. And to ship Antonio Brown now out with this at this point when he's going to be probably at the lowest morale among fans possible.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
And I'm not really somebody that really thinks that you should be building around a receiver. You should be building a team around a receiver anyway. Not saying the Steelers have done that, but receivers to me are still the most. Especially if you have a quarterback already, they are the most expendable pieces of a team, in my opinion.
No, final word on this, EJ. If my attitude was that the Giants should have traded Odell Beckham Jr., how on earth can I say no to them trading Antonio Brown? I just can't.
Based on the behavior, absolutely. And it's more so about the behavior, less about the talent. They do produce on the field. Antonio Brown produces on the field. No doubt about that. It's the behavior, and is he worth the headache? Because, and Shannon Sharp this week said it best. I'm not winning with you, so why keep you on the... if I'm going to win with you, I'd rather have another receiver who I'm paying less money to, and, and go forward from there.
I mean, hey, I like Juju's cap number.
I do too. Moving on. MVP, who is it now? Season's over. And I was saying to a buddy of mine who thinks that Mahomes should be the winner, that it should be the order is wrong. People saying it's between Breeze and Mahomes. I think you're wrong. I think it should be between Mahomes and Luck. I think if anything, Andrew Luck has a better case than even Drew Brees for MVP. And I think we started this thing a couple weeks ago on this show about the campaign, and Andrew Luck held up his end of the deal. He won the road playoff. Yes, I know there's no Marcus Mariota. Get it? Mariota, by the way. But he still held his end of the bargain. The Colts closed the deal. They made the playoffs after starting 1-5. Andrew Luck should be at least number 2 in that pecking order of MVP.
He should damn sure be ahead of Mahomes. Listen, I don't get these people who want to try to act like Mahomes doesn't have any goddamn weapons. Are you kidding me? He has the best tight end in his friggin' conference, not division, conference, if not the league, at his disposal. Literally the most explosive player in the league by many accounts in Tyreek Hill. And I get that while Kareem Hunt isn't on the roster right now, he was. This team has more explosions in it than a Michael Bay film, and we're supposed to be surprised that a guy can finally throw the ball further than 20 yards at the starting quarterback decision, lights the world on fire. This is why I got into this doing this with you, EJ, is because too many people watch fucking ESPN. Now, here's the other thing, Chief. I like that you bring up your dude, Andreas Luck there, Captain Andreas Luck. Sir, we've already forgot about Rusty. Seriously? This is a guy that has the frickin' Rams in his division. For all intents and purposes, a Pro Bowl team. And if the 49ers are the worst team in your division, you're looking good. Now, the truth is they're not. The Cardinals are a dumpster fire. So every division gets day one. And listen, the 49ers, even without Garoppolo, did amazing stuff. I mean... Considering how bad they are, the fact that they survived and won games that they did is asinine. You want to know what else is asinine? The Seahawks made the goddamn playoffs. None of you picked that.
In a year that we all thought we were building year.
Just because you and the press were too dumb to see the possibilities of Luck healthy doesn't mean he shouldn't get the MVP. You're the problem. But neither should Rusty be ignored either. You're all wrong, all of you. The MVP order.
I just have a hard time. Look, I'm not saying that Mahomes in a landslide, anything like that. Because first of all, no one's talking about Luck even be in the conversation. I am at least saying he's number 2 behind Mahomes, okay? I just have a hard time ignoring 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. I mean, yes, numbers, I get it. But
EJ, you could throw.
Kyle, this is essentially his rookie year. Who
cares? That's not what this conversation is about. You're changing the award again, just like this bullshit where you kept Rusty out because he didn't get to the playoffs and he's eliminated in the 16.5 game. You're wrong here too. It's not about what year he's in. It's who most valuable and who makes their team better. Mahomes took a team that was already good and kept them good. Rusty still has this goddamn team on his.
Technically good, made him great. I mean, this team was a 11-5 type of squad. I mean, this team won 12 games. Probably should have won at least 2 more. This team should be. They're 4 losses. I find their 4 losses very, very impressive. Actually, to be honest with the Chiefs, they not the Seattle loss. Well, it's funny because Rusty did beat him head to head 2 weeks ago. So, but it was an argument. But and that was a touchdown game. His 3 losses before that game, and by the way, that game was still fairly close. Well, by combined 4 points of 5 points. I mean, fuck. It's amazing.
That's super. But the thing is, like, listen, man, he split with the Chargers, which the Chargers are a good team.
It took a last second 2-point conversion. I get it. They did it, but I mean, once again, no, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. With this, I think Rusty's the conversation myself too. I think one thing you and I will agree on here is while Drew Brees was great this year, could we stop? I want to sound like one of those people like that's trying to race bait here, but he's the good old boy, nice kid, Drew Brees of Golden Boy, kind of like almost like Brady light in a lot of ways.
You can't be a good old boy and a golden boy. That's not how that works.
Well, I don't know. All I'm saying is this though. December, Drew Brees was pretty average. Drew Brees was 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in December. Patrick Mahomes was 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm just saying.
Something that's being left in the dust is, although it started pretty weak, the Saints have played uncharacteristically good defense and have run the ball uncharacteristically well, which is why Drew Brees isn't my MVP, because he has that help in the form of an entire franchise.
And the Saints' success the last 2 years, too, especially you and I discussed it. I mean, you pushed back on this last year on the shows, was that, the Saints' offense has changed now. It's been a little more balanced, running the pass.
That's right.
It's almost 50-50. You can even, consider it more run heavy than pass heavy now, than in years past. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the ball's in Mahomes' hands, the ball's in Luck's hands, the ball's is even to some degree in Russell Wilson's hands.
Let me give you another pop quiz.
Go ahead.
Can you name the starting running back for the Indianapolis Colts?
Isn't that the Marlin guy, whatever his name is? Yeah.
Okay, no, but yes, it's Marlin.
I got it wrong. Again, I'm with you. Luck should be in the conversation.
And also, can you name the guy who takes the handoffs from Russell Wilson?
Chris, is it Carson? Chris Carson?
The fact that you answer the question like that instead of where you would normally say Kareem Hunt without hesitation and Alvin Kamara without hesitation only further proves my point.
Right. Okay. Right. I'm not saying you're wrong again. I mean, in fact, if Luck wins it.
This isn't for you, EJ. It's for ignorant NFL fan who's going to listen to this and think I'm a pariah and throw Twitter hate at me because they can't handle the truth.
I think the larger point here between you and I here is what you and I are going to take side. Are going to be on the same side. The Breeze thing is a little bit overrated. It's a tad. The Breeze narrative this year. I think because Breeze is 39 years old and the Saints and, one more ring and the legacy thing and he passed the all-time yards this year. So the media is pushing that a little bit. When in fact, Luck, Wilson, Mahomes were better quarterbacks this year, in my opinion. That's all.
One last pop quiz, Chief.
Yes.
Name a receiver other than Thomas on the Saints roster.
I say Ted again, but he's been hurt all year.
And by the way, I said receiver, not ball dropper.
I'm moving on. Now, Pro Football Focus, rather, put out their rankings. By the way, Ryan Tannehill is number 32, worst quarterback of the year, according to their rankings. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Huh?
I said that is crazy. I'm not a Tannehill fan per se, but that's just dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That seems a little bit of a shock value. But according to the list, Tom Brady was number 5 in the list for top quarterbacks according to their rankings. The 5th best quarterback in the league this season, 2018. Aaron Rodgers number 6. You accuse me of fellatio of Tom Brady. You think I'm the biggest Brady? It's funny. People, a lot of my closest friends who I work with, whatever, that say that I pick on the Patriots all the time, personally, and I hate on to Tom Brady all the time. And yet you say the other way. It's funny.
They obviously don't listen to your show and don't really care about you.
Right. Apparently, they ignore it. So
I just put your friends on blast, by the way.
Good.
I hope okay.
They deserve to be on blast because they need to hear what's going on. Look, Tom Brady's great. He's all time, in my opinion, the GOAT. You and I have our little back and forth about Tom Brady's career.
Hey, we've established this is your show. You're allowed to be as wrong as you want.
That's right. Yeah, whatever. However, you ask right now in a vacuum, is Tom Brady the 5th best quarterback this year? Hell no. He's not top 5. Top 10, I'll give you that. Top 5, fuck no. I can tell you 5 quarterbacks right now off the top of my head right now who I think had better years than Tom Brady this year.
Okay, what? Mahomes, Rivers,
Wilson, Luck, Breeze,
Deshaun Watson,
Breeze. That's 6.
I mean, hell,
seriously,
that didn't take long.
Yeah. Eli, I'm joking. No, never mind. Just joking.
Wow. You mean single games, not seasons, Chief?
I don't know. I was frustrated. Like, what are you guys doing? Sometimes eye tests should count. Sometimes your eyes should be okay. You should know football. I'm okay with stats and DVOA and all this stuff, but sometimes you just have to let the stats be the stats sometimes, but don't be engrossed by the stats. That's all.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous like a Bears fan. Shouts G. Stelio.
Yeah, big game for him this weekend. Big game. I guess I should have him on the show this week, but, duty calls. Anyway, let's preview these games. I'm really excited for this weekend. Wildcard Weekend. This is actually one of the most, at least so far on paper, probably the most unpredictable Wildcard Weekend we're going to have in quite a while. At least on paper. Because these games, man, I got to tell you, I don't know where to go with these games. Because I can see any of these teams winning this weekend and it would not surprise me.
I would be kind of surprised that Mitchell Trubisky finally pulled his head out of his ass and actually looked like a quarterback for 30 seconds.
And the Bears could still win that game, even with average.
Also correct.
That's what I'm saying. So let's go in order to the Saturday game first. Colts and Texans. Both these teams split the season series this year at 1 apiece. Again, and both those games were, each team won by 3 points. And I gotta tell you, look, Houston kind of stumbled in the end. Houston had a chance to have a bye week, and that loss to Philadelphia in Week 16 really did them in. They could have gotten that 2 seed and make New England play on Wildcard Weekend. Instead, they didn't do the job, and they haven't really looked all that impressive for the most part the last couple of weeks. And it would not shock me if the Colts came in here and just win this game outright. In fact, my gut is telling me the Colts might win this game. Tell me I'm wrong.
When it comes to this game, it's pointless to try to predict it because there's all sorts of physics that are wonky here. In a situation where a team is a pair of teams about to play each other a third time, those are the most difficult to predict if you ask me.
Yes.
That being said, I got the Texans for no other reason better than more experience on defense. They know what to do more to slow down Andrew Luck because they've at least seen him before. Mm-hmm. Whereas people are still trying to adjust for Deshaun Watson. He's a real X factor. That's where I'll leave that, man. It's really close. If you want to call me a homer by way of voting for my man crush, I won't blame you. But he is certainly a factor in my decision.
Of course, he is. But again, like both these games were decided by a field goal. This can go either way, honestly. Like I said, the Colts win this game and will not shock me. I mean, I think what's really bothered me is that Houston's came down the stretch, did not, after that winning streak, they kind of sort of stumbled in December. And to me, if you're not playing well in December, that could be a issue heading to January. Can you turn around on a dime? That again, the opportunity to have a bye week. They had that right there in the bag, and then they blew that.
I'm more worried about that with the Rams next week than I am Houston this week.
Okay, so you got Houston this game?
I do.
Okay, next one on Saturday night. You have the Seahawks going to Dallas, face the Cowboys. Again, another game where I can see Seattle winning on the road.
You know what's interesting about this group, guys?
What's that?
How closely related, how similar these two teams are to each other. Dallas is a defense-first team now that wins by running the football and having a mobile quarterback. Seattle, the Legion of Boom 2.0 is doing better than anyone ever imagined. And they're dealing with a mobile quarterback. They each have basically a single receiver that you've heard of, although Amari Cooper is easily the most talented on the field catching passes. Yeah. That's close. But at the end of the day, if the decision is between Dak, as much as I think he gets too much flack, or Rusty, I got Rusty all day. I got the Seahawks actually winning this game outright, and I am not even remotely scared to say it.
Yeah, and Dallas, like I said, that Philly game a couple weeks ago when they beat Philadelphia back in early December, when we all thought the Eagles were dead the rights, they dominated that game on the field, and yet they won by a touchdown late in overtime. I mean, again, Dallas has. I think the problem with the Cowboys for me is that everything has to be perfectly in line from the winning game. If things don't fall into place perfectly, everything goes haywire. And by the way, I'm hearing reports say too that just because they won the division and in the playoffs, Jason Garrett's job is not necessarily safe either. If they lose this game, there's a chance he may lose his job.
Oh, BS.
Is that warranted, Kyle, based on the result this year? I know we're not Garrett guys, but is that warranted this year based on the result?
I mean, that's a fair question. I can see warranted is strong, but I wouldn't say that anybody was wrong for firing him either. That being said, you mentioned everything for the Cowboys has to go right. By the same token, the sloppier the game, the higher the exponential chance of Russell Wilson winning. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that's really the edge of this game. These teams are evenly matched for the most part, except the quarterback. And I think Russell Wilson obviously is the bigger, the bigger advantage. I mean, no offense to Dak. Dak's been solid, let's just say, but he ain't Russell Champagne Wilson.
And few people are too.
All right, let's go to the Sunday game. It's 1 o'clock. This is gonna be a huge one. A rematch from 3 weeks ago. The L.A. Chargers heading to Baltimore to face the Ravens, led by, Lamar Jackson. Ravens are favored in this game by 2.5 points, which they should, based on the result from a couple weeks ago, being at home, the weather, going out west. I think of the 4 games here, this is the one I'm having the hardest time predicting.
Not me. If Lamar Jackson and company are successful at running the ball again and keeping Phillip Rivers and that offense off of the field, I have the Ravens winning this football game. Not to mention, they do not lack a discipline at all with John Harbaugh, and simply because the only thing that makes me shy from the Ravens is the fact that I personally observed Lamar Jackson, the Heisman Trophy winner, fall apart in his first really big bowl game and not rise to the occasion. And then the following bowl game, he did not rise to the occasion. With a playoff game on the line, we'll see if he actually breaks that trend and rises to the occasion.
I'll say this as a betting man. If I'm betting this game, I'm betting the over. I'm staying away from this game for the picks because I can see you can see a lot of things can play out here. Lamar Jackson made me shit in the bed, which may not happen. You see Phillip Rivers make some mistakes here, which may not happen. This is an evening match game. This is a weather game. If it's really, really cold, like Baltimore, if the weather's manageable, if there's some sun there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the field, I think the Chargers have a good chance to win this game. But again, I would bet the over this game, honestly, at 41.5 points. Because, this is of the 4 games, is the hardest one to predict.
I don't know. You got the over. I'd take the under straight up. But anyways,
you see a 17-13 game.
I see ugly. I see slop. I see the Ravens keeping the Chargers off the field. It's not going to be quite as lopsided in time of possession as say LSU and UCF 45-15, something like that. But it's going to be lopsided.
All right. And finally, the game I think I'm looking forward to the most of the weekend, only because of my personal hatred of the Eagles. Although I must say, the Nick Foles story, if I took away my Eagles hatred and all that, it's a really good story, man. I mean, let's be real. I mean, if this guy even, forget winning the Super Bowl, if he pulls off even a few wins in the playoffs, my God. I mean, it's really incredible to see. This is why we love sports. Anyway, the Eagles and the Bears at Soldier Field. You know, I like Chicago here. I just think Chicago, they showed me something last week against Minnesota. A game that they really didn't need. They really, I mean, look, had the Rams lost against San Francisco, they would have gotten the 2 seed. But come on, if anybody thought the Rams were going to lose to the Niners on Week 17, you're an idiot. But the Bears still approached that Vikings game as though business as usual, and a Vikings team was desperate, and they smacked them around. To me, the Bears in the last couple weeks have shown me something that they're to be taken serious now.
So here's the thing. This is the game that's the toughest to pick this weekend, and this stuff you talking about the Chargers and Ravens is adorable.
Okay.
Both teams are relatively sloppy and try to out-physical you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that brings us back to basically the quarterback battle. Okay. Now, granted, the Bears have a puncher's chance because of Khalil Mack and that defensive front and their ability to cause turnovers, obviously. But, if we had GWSTWLIO on the show, he's going to talk about how they're going to force Nick Foles to turn over the ball. And what do you think Mitchell Trubisky's going to do? Okay. Granted, they won't have Aaron Rodgers stumbling onto the field resurrecting like he's Jesus as he did in Game 1 to scare the pants off of him. Mm-hmm. But Mitchell Trubisky's going to miss throws. Mitchell Trubisky's going to be rendered useless in the second half when they've thrown all the pieces of junk that they could think of out of the playbook at the Eagles, and then they're forced to play traditional football when the game is still close. I have the Eagles here simply because I can't take Trubisky seriously.
Wow, I'm picking the Eagles in this game? Wow. I shouldn't be shocked because of the Trubisky stuff, but I'm a bit shocked because I thought maybe they'd be a little bit more pressed with the Bears last couple weeks, but wow.
The Bears beating the Vikings are who I thought they were. They're a team that pulled the trigger on a quarterback that was no better than the one they had, and they're choking just like the quarterback they now have does. Oh, look, they beat the shit out of the Dolphins. Aren't they great? No, they're not. Shut the fuck up.
And you were there, by the way, too.
I was there. See how unimpressive Kirk Cousins was, even against a debilitated defense.
By the way, I love the fact that you now, after 5 years in this, it's about 5 years, 4 years, whatever, of the show, you feel so comfortable cursing on the show without even like a.
I got sick of you bitching at me like a little girl. That's what it is.
Oh Jesus.
Oh
man. Anyway, Kyle, before I let you go, anything to promote? What's going on?
Listen, man, I have a myriad of things that came out of the UCF LSU Fiesta Bowl there in Scottsdale, Arizona. What a fantastic time. What a fantastic game. Mm-hmm. For you people who want to try to tell me that UCF doesn't belong, you're a bunch of dumbasses because the people who proved that they didn't belong was the Oklahoma Sooners.
Ooh, actually, before we get going, I'm glad you mentioned that because I ripped people on social media on Saturday after both their games because everybody's bitching about how Oklahoma should have been there, Notre Dame should have been there, and all that. And I'm not saying yes or no either way, but college sports fans to me are the most. What word did I use earlier?
You said hypocritical, and I don't buy that. But keep going.
They're using hindsight. Look, do I agree Georgia is one of the 4 best teams in the country? Possibly, yes. But they lost 2 games. Period. One loss was against LSU by 37 points. I'm sorry. You cannot tell me that Notre Dame didn't deserve to be in the playoff. Sorry. And I fucking hate Notre Dame. So me defending them it's hard enough as it is anyway. But these fans need to fucking stop.
So, a couple things. First of all, the Notre Dame thing is tougher because they were, in fact, undefeated. Yes, their schedule is overrated. But I'm glad they actually made it in. I felt like they belonged in there, and who knows, maybe Clemson is just better than we're giving them credit for. We'll find out about that. If it turns out that they beat Alabama in the national championship, people who are Notre Dame backers will take that as a victory in their own right. Oh, I guess you think Alabama doesn't belong either and shit like that. We've been over how bad Oklahoma is, and the thing that was most amazing about my coverage of the Camping World Bowl before I left for Arizona is West Virginia for the first 3 quarters actually played some defense against Syracuse, but I digress. The punchline is this, friends. When you are more than 5 minutes into the first quarter and your production across the board is all zeros, seriously, I haven't seen this many zeros since I looked at the history of the quarterbacks that started for the Browns in the early 2000s, okay? Mm-hmm. That's the only time I've seen more zeros than what was on the stat line for Oklahoma. I don't care that they made it a game. I don't care that they came back late. The Heisman Trophy winner was made irrelevant in the first half of a playoff game.
But are you surprised, though, really, though? I mean, are you surprised, though, considering the opponent? I mean,
I don't want to hear about surprise. I want to hear about me only lately really breaking into college football, getting it right than the alleged, more right, rather, than the alleged authorities on the topic. Tua Tagovailoa is the Heisman Trophy winner and could have been an F you in your stupid face. And while you're at it, State in number 4 because you're giving him too hard a time for one bad loss. Period.
Kyle, tell me how you really feel, man. Seriously.
I could have kept going and talked about how much bullshit it is they were lucky enough to get Texas in a rematch in the conference championship as well. But don't get me started. By the way, one college that should have every right to be bitter at Notre Dame is Texas. Because if they, like Notre Dame, didn't have to go into a conference championship game, they'd have had that number 4 spot.
Well, like I said, look, Oklahoma. Look, I'm with you the whole defense and all that, and I'm with you. But you know how I feel. I told you weeks ago. Look, you can't lose to Purdue by fucking 30 points.
It's one game.
Don't care.
It's one game. Name somebody worth the damn that Oklahoma's actually beaten in the regular season. I'll wait. And don't say Texas. They needed 2 tries.
Now you're gonna say that. No, again, Ohio State, the almighty Ohio State. It wasn't that they lost to Purdue. It's the way they lost. Again,
the fact that your only combat is the word again just proves that I'm right. Let us continue.
Okay. This argument never die anyway. So, Kyle, as always, it was great. Hopefully Monday we can review the Wildcard Weekend and hopefully the results and all that. I'm looking forward to Saturday and Sunday. I cannot wait. Wait.
Yeah, man. No, it's going to be a big deal. Got a lot of articles dropped from Arizona earlier this week on BlueHQ Media Sports Media Pass. But tomorrow on the quick here, I'm going to be putting up a preview article for the playoffs this weekend. So look out for that magic when it drops on sportsmediapass.com. And yeah, the DolphinsWire is done for now, but I'm still with them. Probably be looking to do off-season stuff here very shortly. And your podcast with me and Tokyo Jameson on dinner time only needs to be edited. Now that I'm back home, I can actually do that, and we'll push that live. And then also Default Assault, still doing the thing. That should be fun, man. So yeah. Hey, man, great times. I'm glad we found a way to fit this in despite all the scheduling and fate and sickness.
And babies and...
Good God. But, yeah, man, great to be aboard with you. And Happy New Year, EJ. Class dismissed.
You got it, brother. Thank you.